You think being available makes you a better leader, but did you know it's slowly killing your business? If you're the kind of owner who built your company by being dependable, always responsive, always involved, this episode's for you. Every time you step in to help, you trade your team's ownership for short-term relief, and you pay for it with long-term dependence. Leadership overexposure doesn't look dangerous at first, but over time, it corrodes focus, slows growth, and traps your business in a pattern where nothing moves unless you do. Here's what we're covering today. You'll discover why always-on leadership erodes both your focus and your team's confidence, and how to rebuild balance using the 3 R's of sustainable leadership. Welcome to the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Randy Bridges, business advisor, consultant, coach, and trusted partner to service-based business owners who are serious about performance, profit, and progress. This podcast exists to do one thing: help you solve the real problems that stall your growth, kill momentum, and burn out the very people who built your business. So let's get started, shall we? All right. We are on episode 224 of the podcast, and today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. If that introduction sounds familiar, you're not alone. You probably built your business by being accessible, dependable, and involved in everything that mattered. And for a while that worked, but now you're stretched thin. You're managing more people, more problems, and somehow less progress. By the end of today's podcast, you'll have a step-by-step roadmap to reclaim your time without sacrificing momentum. If you're ready to design your business so that it runs without your constant presence, there's a link in the description to work directly with me to make that change for you. Otherwise, let's keep going and look at the invisible trap: why working harder makes things worse. Let's start with a surprise. The hardest working leader isn't the strongest. They're the most replaceable. Now, what I found is that most owners equate leadership with involvement. They measure their value by their visibility, how many fires they put out, how many decisions they touch. But that kind of leadership creates a silent bottleneck. The castle is built around the king or the queen. Your team becomes reactive, your calendar becomes chaotic, and your role becomes unsustainable. The more present you are, the less your team learns to lead. And that's a trap. It feels noble, it feels responsible, but it's quietly telling your people, I don't trust you to handle it on your own. Over time, that message becomes the culture, and you become the crutch that keeps it standing. Constant involvement doesn't just burn you out, it burns out the business. Here's some signs that it's happening. First, you lose strategic focus. Every interruption steals the bandwidth that's meant in your mind for innovation. You start managing your time instead of leading vision. Second, your team loses accountability. They stop making decisions because they've learned you'll make them faster. And third, your business starts losing momentum. Progress slows to the speed of your availability, and that's when growth flatlines. In a nutshell, being always on doesn't scale, it stalls. So why does leadership break when you care too much? Because caring turns into control when you shield your team from the struggles that they need to go through. Real leadership isn't about doing more. It's about developing more in the team that helps you and makes things possible for both you and your customer clients. When you step back, ownership steps forward in your team. So let's look at today's framework of the 3 R's of sustainable leadership. To stop leading from reaction and start leading from rhythm, you need structure. And that's where these 3 R's of sustainable leadership come in. It's a model that helps you shift from always on to always aligned. And I know this personally because I had to not just develop it, I actually had to develop it for myself to improve my own abilities. So let's look at this in the 3 R's. Number 1, redefine availability. You want to set boundaries on when you're available. Replace that open door policy with structured accessibility. When your time has guardrails, your team's ownership expands, and it helps to actually have someone who runs interference for you on your meetings and people getting access to you. The second R is reroute decisions. Stop being the answer to everything. If you push authority downward by rule and not by exception, you'll find things run much smoother. You want to set thresholds of what your team can decide, what needs your review, and what only you can touch. And that is where that assistant comes in really handy. And the third R is reinforce progress, not presence. My suggestion from experience is stop rewarding activity and start rewarding outcomes. Replace the endless check-ins with transparent scoreboards that both you and other people can see. When success is visible, the trust becomes measurable. The real strength of leadership isn't measured by how much you hold together. It's measured by how well things hold together without you. In some cases, in spite of you. When you stop managing every moment, you give your business the space to grow beyond you. And that's when freedom replaces fatigue. So let's look at our case study. Let me tell you about Michael. He ran a 25-person service firm. Smart team, loyal clients, and a strong reputation. And if you asked anyone who kept it all together, they'd point to Michael. His door was always open and his phone was always on. He was the first to arrive in the morning, the last to leave, and the guy that everyone turned to when something slipped through the cracks. At first, he wore it like a badge of honor. People depend on me because I care, he'd say. But caring slowly became control, the quiet kind that creeps in through good intentions. Michael was doing exactly what I did, and it made it really easy for me to spot when this was going on. He'd fix mistakes instead of coaching through them. He'd approve proposals because it was faster, and he'd answer emails at midnight because it felt being responsible as an action. Before long, every project, every question, every client update came through him. Now, the team respected him, but they stopped moving unless he did. And that's when he reached out to me. We talked about what leadership really means when you're scaling, which is that real strength doesn't come from being involved. It comes from being intentional. Together, we worked through the 3 R's of sustainable leadership. Now, Michael started small. He began blocking off just 1 hour a day where he was completely unavailable. At first, he said it felt wrong. He'd constantly checking his phone, wondering what was falling apart. But by week 2, something changed. His team stopped waiting, and they started deciding without him. He rerouted the small approvals to his project leads and used a shared dashboard so everyone could see progress without constant check-ins. When something was behind, that was really obvious as well. Within a month, the noise around Michael quieted, and for the first time in years, he went home without feeling behind. 6 weeks later, he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I used to think being the answer was leadership. Now I realize it was the problem." And Michael didn't lose control. But what he did was he gained capacity. And his team, well, they didn't just grow, they rose to meet him. So let's go into our self-check. Ask yourself 4 questions. Does every major decision still go through you? And if the answer to that is sometimes, there's not a problem there. Number 2, do you answer more questions than your team asks each other? Number 3, are you busier than ever but seeing slower progress? And number 4, do you feel more like a firefighter than a leader? Now, if you said yes to 2 or more of these, your leadership rhythm is undoubtedly overloaded. And that's not a failure, but it's a signal that your business is ready to grow beyond your involvement. Now, if you realize your leadership is running on reaction instead of rhythm, it's time to reset. In a focus strategy session, you and I can pinpoint where your leadership load is unsustainable and design a structure that builds team ownership, clarity, and consistency without you having to be everywhere at once. The link will be the first line of the description. In our closing reflection, your business doesn't need more of your presence. Probably needs more of your trust. When your systems are strong and your people are empowered, your leadership begins to become scalable. Because leadership isn't about being everywhere. It's about building others to go further without you. Being always on isn't good leadership. It's dependency with good intentions. As you look at your week ahead, remember, build it smart, run it clean, stay aligned. That's it for this episode. I hope you picked up some valuable insights and maybe even sparked a few new ideas. If you want to keep the conversation going or maybe even explore partnerships, don't hesitate to reach out. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. The steps you take today could be the start of something big tomorrow. For the budding entrepreneur, I wish you the best in your health, your wealth, your business, your family, everything about you. Take care, and we'll see you back here next week.